Hello and welcome back to the Dream Life Diaries podcast. If you're new here, my name is McKenna, and I've personally been studying mindset shifts, manifestation, and spirituality for years now. I've been long trying to adopt new mindset shifts and include manifestation in my life to start building and manifesting that dream life that I'm waiting for. And this is the show that's not just about manifesting that dream life, but also figuring out what exactly that is and what that dream life means to you so you can go ahead and chase the dreams that you know you deserve. Here we talk about all things navigating life in your 20s, goal setting, manifestation, mindset shifts, and affirmations in order to really figure out what it is that you're chasing and to go after that dream life you deserve. Today's episode is about crashing out and rebounding after that happens and potentially escaping for a short period of time to refresh and pull yourself together in order to dive back in head first into your goals, into your manifestations, to keep goal chasing on full speed and picking up the pieces after that crash out happens. So if you clicked on this episode today, chances are either you've crashed out in the past or you're at that stage now. And if you're listening on today, I just want you to understand that I get it. I get it so much. And today we're here to talk all about this, about crashing out and how we can avoid this and deal with it when the situation happens. This episode is all about giving yourself the permission to pause, refresh, and regroup and to take that escape once you need it to come back better than ever. And if you're ready to push that reset button and hit the ground running faster than ever before, then let's dive right into it. So some recent life updates on my side. I've definitely been pretty MIA recently, especially if you follow along my socials. Usually I am very active on there and, between the podcast and my social accounts, usually I'm posting every single day. It's been a crazy few months. I mean, there's been so many changes in life and everything's been kicking up speed at full force. I definitely have talked about this on the past few episodes, but life is coming in full speed. So basically, I've been traveling a lot the past month or so, and I'm actually going to be continuing traveling. So if things are a little sporadic, that is not me falling off the face of the earth. The podcast is not going under. But I'm also trying to take some of my own advice where I'm trying to stay consistent, but also pull back when I need it. So life has been crazy, and as you can probably suspect by the episode's title, I've just experienced a major crash out for myself. So, like I was saying, things have just been so crazy at work. I mean, just so many different changes. Like one day it's one thing, the next thing it's a different thing. And I've gotten to the point where it's not even just the physical exhaustion. I mean, I've naturally been not sleeping because of all the stress that I've been going through and all the change, like instability. When things are out of your control, it's hard to just be able to rest and be in a restful state. You're in a constant state of stress. But besides the physical exhaustion, I have just been emotionally depleted. I think it's just because of all the ups and downs. It's when you're going through life and it's one thing one day, the next day it's a totally different situation, and life is just totally out of your control. And naturally, you're going to be so emotionally drained just by going through all the back and forth. And so this past week, I just got back from a semi-spontaneous trip to San Francisco, which I live in Charleston, so it's, right directly across the country, pretty much as far away as I can go. And I actually planned it a few weeks ago, kind of on a whim, and it just really worked out so, so well. Little did I know, just a few days after planning that trip, my computer would break at work, and this is the second time this has happened. So long story short, I went about 3+ weeks with not really having a stable work environment. My computers kept breaking, and if you've ever had that situation, it sounds like, oh, it's great, you're not working for a few weeks, that's so lucky. But in reality, it was such an awful experience, just because I work in sales as well. So we have quotas and we have goals to hit, and not being able to have control over that situation was just terrible for me. So little did I know, just after booking the trip to San Francisco, that my computer would break again and I would have to get a whole new computer once again. So if I knew that this was happening, I definitely would not have put PTO on my calendar at all. But the way of the world, I think the universe just decided that A, I needed an unplanned break due to my computer and a few extra days off, and B, I needed a trip away. And let me tell you, I absolutely needed this. So before leaving, it was literally those 2 days before hopping on the flight. I was at a mental health absolute low. I felt like the world was seriously crashing on me, and I won't dive too much into it, but basically every day I just kept getting new news, new changes, and it was just so hard to adapt to. And basically that Wednesday I was already at an emotional, mental low. Thursday came into the office and I was trying to be more positive, but I mean the world was just crashing down on me. It was one thing after the next. And it just resulted in me having just major, major anxiety attacks, some of the worst that I've had in a long time. Then the next day, I woke up and hopped on a 6 a.m. flight to San Francisco. And let me tell you, this trip changed so much for me. Even when I was starting to board the plane and everything, I was still feeling so guilty for going, so guilty for leaving work. I was panicking about work stuff and quotas and life stuff and catching up. And meanwhile, I was hopping on a flight, which seemed like the absolute opposite of what I should have been doing at the moment. But I got on that flight. I actually almost missed my flight, so that was an add to the stress. But I got on the flight. I did so much journaling on this plane. I took some time to actually just listen to music and listen to podcasts and sleep, which is something that I just haven't had time to do recently. I got to rest and refresh. And let me tell you, the minute I got off that plane in California, I felt like a new person already. I was in California for 5 days and I was spending time with one of my absolute closest friends from back home. So we relate so well. We could talk about things that I just can't with some other people. It's just people from your hometown, they get certain things. And I am just so lucky to have this friend in my life. And we just got to spend the most magical, amazing 5 days together, traveled all around, went to Napa, wine tours, like you name it, we were doing it. I got to go through all the parks and be in nature and do so many things that I didn't even know how badly I needed until I was doing them. And it was just the most amazing refresh I could have ever had. And not only was it a break, but it was an emotional refresh as well. Just being able to talk to my friend and we just got to rant to each other for 5 days, catch up on life, and it was just everything I needed and so much more. And while I was on this trip, I got to take a step back, got to refresh and really regroup so that this past week, when I've been back, having to dive back into work, I've had a such different mindset than I did those days before going. I mean, complete 180, if you will. Like, I was one day crashing out pretty much at an all-time low, really feeling like I had no options, just breaking down. And then I came back and I felt like a new person. I was ready to hit the ground running. I had my mindset pulled back in check and I was ready to come in, toughen up a little bit, and just do what's in my control to help, work through my situation that I'm at right now and not stress too much about it. And I want to bring this story forward because I feel like it could be so relatable, especially in today's world when we are worked so hard, especially mentally. I mean, the mental work that we have to go through every single day is nonstop. And that stress from our day to day carries on with us all the time. And we carry that with us. And so burnout is pretty much inevitable. But I know over the years we've all heard the terms crashing out and burning out thrown around so much in the media and, in talk nowadays. And if you're not familiar, crashing out is pretty much the feeling of emotional or energetic burnout. It's basically the time when you are just so tired, so exhausted, so mentally depleted from work or school or whatever it is that you're going through that you are in a state where you really can't do anything. I mean, those who have been through it know it's kind of hard to describe. It's like you're so depleted of everything that you feel like you have nothing really left to give. You don't have that energy to put into your day-to-day life or your work like you usually do. And there's lots of hate in the media around burnout. I see a lot of posts online that get so many hate comments of people saying things like, don't call it burnout or don't call it this, don't call it that. Burnout's not real. I can personally say that I truly believe that burnout is real. And I do believe in crash out as well. I also think that crash out and burnout are similar but different things. I think burnout is when you're just depleted from work. When you're just exhausted from work and you get to this point when it's hard to keep going. Whereas I believe that crash out is a little bit more than that. I think crashing out is more of the emotional depletion as well. When anxiety is built on top of things, when it almost leads to anxiety attacks and those emotional ties that make you crumple when this burnout happens. In my opinion, I think burnout and crash out are similar, but then crashing out takes it one step further, where you get to this point of hopelessness when you don't know what to do next. You don't even want to do anything next because you're that depleted. Crashing out is when you get to the point where every single little thing that happens knocks you down over and over again. Those little things that wouldn't bother you in the normal day absolutely knock the wind out of you and take you down and make you crumple when you're going through a period when you're crashing out. And this can show up in many ways. I mean, I've seen crash out show up in chronic stress or chronic anxiety, in losing motivation, in that lack of hopelessness, in a feeling of depression, losing sleep, a severe lack of energy, and the inability to really get motivated, difficulty focusing and being super scatterbrained and not being able to focus on one thing. And then definitely emotional instability. Those times when your moods are up and down so much like a tidal wave and you just can't control it. And in our normal life, in our day-to-day world, I think it is so important to be emotionally strong, to push through and chase towards your goals and really work hard in life to get the results that you deserve. I think it's so important to be very strong. However, when we're going through these periods, when we're breaking down and we're crashing out or we're burning out, it doesn't make you stronger to try and push through that, to push yourself towards a place where you're literally crashing out and having anxiety attacks and working yourself to the bone when there are ways that you can fix it. I think when you're in one of these periods, pushing through doesn't lead to you having some major breakthrough. Honestly, it usually leads to breakdowns that are harder to get yourself out of. And many people talk about pushing through the pain and bullying yourself into being strong enough to get past these things. But I think this is so unhealthy, and I've seen this a lot in, media culture today, where people are really saying that you just need to suck it up and move past it. But it's hard to move past it when you are at this point and you're this stressed out that it's hard to get yourself out of it. It's not just pushing past and keep going. There's something that you need to fix there to change your life and change your situation. As humans, we're meant to be ready for stressful environments, and we're meant to be ready to react to stressors and to react quickly, but not all the time. And that's why so many of us are just stressed and on guard all the time. We are living in this steady period of just stress all the time. And if you don't do something to fix that, your stress is going to hurt you in so many ways, emotionally, mentally, especially physically. So many physiological issues in our bodies are actually caused by stress. So once again, it's just so important to acknowledge that and to acknowledge the situation that you're in, because if you are getting constantly burnt out or crashing out, then chances are you might be in one of these toxic situations or in a toxic relationship with your stress and your work habits that's keeping you at a level of stress all the time. And this is why it's so important to take pauses, to take breaks, and to get those escapes when you can. Taking an escape is not weak. And taking breaks, small breaks throughout your day and throughout your normal life are not optional, but essential. I absolutely hate when people start to think that taking an escape or taking a break makes you weak. We are meant to take steps away from our work. There's no world in which we should be working and going full force all the time. We need those breaks to give our bodies rest so we could go back and put forth our best efforts and then take that step away to give ourselves time to reset. So taking time off, unplugging, saying no to certain events to take some time for yourself, and taking rest these aren't making you lazy. Taking these moments are strategic. And I think it absolutely is strategic. You need to take those breaks to set yourself up for success. If you're not taking these breaks, you are not going to have the energy that you need to put forth your best effort and show up as the version of yourself that you need to be. To show up as that strongest version of yourself, the version of you who's achieving all of your goals, who is excelling rapidly and achieving success and putting forth that best effort and getting the best results. Think about it. I imagine your body as having a certain amount of energy that you're allowed to expend in, let's say, a month's time. Think of it as gas in the tank of your car, okay? If you have that one tank of gas to go throughout an entire month, you could keep going every minute of every day at a low speed and just keep extending it for the entire month out. You could do that. But is that really going to be the most efficient? I think when it comes to work and when it comes to going through our day to day and achieving our goals and everything, I think it is so important to use that energy in strong bursts. And this is how you actually break through to your goals. And this is how you actually level up in achieving that success. You have to use your energy strategically. Use it in bursts of time throughout the month. Don't extend it out for every minute of every day and just keep at this very low level. Use those bursts to come in and power punch and do what you want to do in big bursts of energy, and then take that step back to relax. And then do another burst forward and then pull back again. And this is how you reserve your energy and avoid the burnout stage. That's why I think it's so important to be strategic about it and plan those breaks. Plan breaks into your calendar already, so they're there and ready for you to take a step back and regroup before it's too late. And I wish my break away, my escape to California was strategic, but in reality, it was not strategic at all. It definitely came at the right time for me, and honestly, that trip was just so meant to happen. And if I didn't have that trip away and I didn't have those 5 days to reset, I honestly don't know where I would be this past week mentally at all. So while my trip was not planned, I've learned from this trip and this escape that it might work so well in the future to be more strategic about my escapes, my breaks away, and to plan more in so that I could avoid the burnout stage before it starts to happen. Escaping, specifically temporarily, allows you to see your problems from an external perspective. So being 3,000 miles away from my problems, I didn't feel that same stress that I have when they're, right on my doorstep. It's so different to view your problems when you're in a different environment as well. I think, when you're in your normal home, if you're in your normal work environment, in your normal city or where you're living, it's so much easier to hyperfixate on all those problems. But when you're away and in a different environment, in my case, 3,000 miles away, it's hard to even worry about those things because you're in a completely different space. Everything's new around you. You're with different people. You're doing different things. And honestly, a lot of the times, the things that you're worrying about, you can't even really take action on them, even if you wanted to. I specifically left my work laptop at home, and at the last minute, I almost packed in my suitcase, and I'm so grateful and blessed that I did not do that, because that would have made me tempted to log on just to check a few things, which then leads into, hours spent diving into stuff that I don't need to actually be worrying about at that moment. So while I was away, I got to view my problems from thousands of miles away, from an external perspective. And I felt a sense of clarity that nothing else could have possibly provided to me. I, of course, could have thought through my problems here in Charleston. I could have asked friends for advice here. I could have taken maybe a day off or the weekend to try and refresh and regroup. But I really don't believe I could have gotten the same experience if I were here. It would have just been so tempting to go meet up with my friends all day and do my normal routines, or maybe do some other things for work while I'm here. And I wouldn't have taken the time for myself that I needed. While I was on a plane, I got to journal so much and just literally close my eyes and think about my life for 7 hours that I was on a plane, and really just got to shut my eyes and just think for a bit. I was able to think through my problems with this outside point of view, especially after my trip, after I got a break away, I got to talk to different people and think clearly about the situation. I was able to use that clear thought to make a true decision on how I should react to my current problems. And I was able to make a course of action to take with me as I came back. Centering yourself allows you to come back to your why. So whatever it is that centers you as well, you need to focus on that. You need to take your escape and center yourself to reevaluate what's truly important to you. And this is what will help you make true, rational decisions instead of those that are based on stress or anxiety or on reflexive action. And I'm sure we've all heard the, common phrase tossed around, just sleep on it. And I think this is a better way of thinking, just sleep on it. If you're going through something in life and you need to make big decisions, or if you're going through a period of burnout and you're just not really reacting the way you want to your current situations, you need to take some time away to really analyze your decisions before you make them, before diving in and making maybe a decision that you might regret. I think this is where reflexive action comes in, is because when we're at that stage, when we're burning out, when we're crashing out, and we don't really know what to do, we're going to let our anxiety lead the way. We're going to let our anxiety lead us into making those reflexive actions. So when something comes up, we're going to make the quickest, fastest decision that might not be the best choice for us. But that's what our anxiety is leading us to in the moment, is making that quickest, easiest decision to solve the problem right now. That's what our brains naturally want to do. Our brains naturally want to lead us to make the quickest, the easiest decision, even if it's not the best decision for us. When we're in those periods of pure stress, of that burnout, when we're at a state of high anxiety, our brains naturally are going to lead us to making the easiest decision to solve our current problems. This is just natural human behavior. Our brains are going to be looking for the quickest and easiest solution to solve a problem in those moments. And so this could lead to making decisions that are actually not the best choice for you, but this is what your brain is telling you to do in the moment. So that's why it's so important to take that step back, really analyze your current situation, and think with a clear head so you can go ahead and make rational decisions for you. And rest is so important for you and your mind and your body in so many ways, but even more so when you're going through a stressful period in life, when you're crashing out. This is why it's so important to catch yourself before it's too late. It's so important to listen to your body and take inventory of your body and your stress levels and your anxiety levels, and to know when it's time to pull back before it's too late and you've already passed the crash out stage. I think we can help avoid this by taking small breaks from work or stress of everyday life more often, and in just small ways. Ways that you can do this are maybe going to a spa, going to yoga, making some time for yourself every single day in one way or another, which can just be sitting and listening to music, eating a meal without looking at your phone, taking a walk without looking at your phone, just taking an extra 5 minutes to just sit in your car before or after work, just to collect your thoughts. I also think about reading a book daily. This is such a great way to give your mind a break, especially if it's a fiction book. Also, I love journaling. You can also try going out to dinner more. So, you get to have a fun experience, you get a fun breakaway, and you don't have to cook. Try giving yourself time to go to bed early every single day, and take this time to either read a book, journal, or honestly just lay there and think. Think about life and give yourself time to just think about your current situations. Go through those mental lists and just give yourself time just to lay there and be. Try planning some fun activities with your friends or your family or your partner to change up the pace and escape the normal routine of day-to-day life. I think it's so important to throw these little breaks in, that break us from our monotonous day-to-day and get us away for, even if it's just a few hours, from our normal routine and the habits that we're so ingrained in. Try talking to others. Talking out your problems is such a great way to release the energy that's pent up inside of us. And also try to get outside as much as possible. Connecting with nature is an essential way to avoid getting burnt out and to really improve your mental health altogether. So try to be more active, go on walks, go on runs, do yoga outside, even just literally sit outside and meditate or just sit outside and breathe and be in nature, be in the sunshine, and try new activities. I mean, I love just trying new things, whether it's like pickleball or tennis with my friends or just trying something new. And that's a great way to break up, your day-to-day routine in life as well. Try something new, get yourself out there, and it's just such a great refresh from the day-to-day. These are great ways to take small actions in your day-to-day to avoid getting to that burnout stage. However, when and if you do get there, I will always be the advocate for going on a trip and taking that escape. And when I say escape, it's important to note that I'm not saying run away from all of your problems. I'm not saying be irrational and just run away, but take a few days. Take a few days and think of it as an escape. Let yourself think about it. It's not bad. You're not running from your problems. You are going to refresh and regroup to tackle your problems better than ever. And going on a trip or getting away, even if it's literally just going on a day trip or just going, a few hours away, it can give you that mental clarity when you're away from your problems. When you're taking some time away from your current situation, it's so much easier to get that mental clarity and think about things clearer. And if and when you do decide to do this, it is important once again to go in with the mentality and know that the goal is not to escape forever. You're not escaping forever to just run away from your problems, but it's to find peace and find rest and relaxation and clarity to calm yourself and come back feeling grounded and ready to hit the ground running and feeling that inspiration again and that motivation to tackle your goals. And when you're away, let yourself forget about your problems for a little bit. I think this is the biggest part is give yourself some time to forget about your problems. And this is when inspiration will strike you the most. When you're not thinking about your problems, when you're not overanalyzing and you give yourself the ability to step back, this is when the clarity comes in. This is when the inspiration comes in. And that's when your intuition is able to flood into you so you know what to do. And you have that inspired action and you're able to actually make decisions that are aligned with you is because you're allowing yourself to take time and let the inspiration channel in. This way, you can make your way back to your day-to-day life with clarity and confidence. And now you can dive in with fresh perspective, new ideas, better boundaries, more energy, more inspiration, and have that motivation again. And when you come back, you're not restarting from scratch. You're starting from experience and you are using your experience from the past and what you learned and what you've gotten from your refresh to move forward with more momentum than ever before. There is a common fable that's told. Someone shared this with me recently about these two men who are sharpening an axe. Basically, the fable goes that there's two men going to cut down some trees in a forest. Guy number one goes out first thing in the morning, bright and early, and he is cutting down trees left and right. I mean, he just goes and runs after it. It's 6 a.m. He's running out in the forest and just trying to cut down as many trees as possible to go home at 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, guy number two comes out. Guy number two takes a pause, takes a slow morning, has a coffee, and he starts sharpening his axe. He takes an entire 4 hours to sharpen this axe. Meanwhile, this other guy is out there swinging away, chopping down trees, but this guy is taking his time, sharpening his axe, making it perfect, getting all the preparation ready to go out there and cut down some trees as well. Right? Guy number two goes out there to catch up with guy number one, and little do you know, he starts swinging at these trees with this sharpened axe, and he is cutting them down so much faster than this other guy. Meanwhile, guy number one is out here. He's so tired. He's been swinging his axe all day. It's so dull. He's barely getting a dent in some of these trees by now. He's ready to tap out, but guy number two is out here, the sharpened axe, swinging through these trees like it's no effort at all. And since he took the time to sharpen his axe, he's putting in so much less physical effort as well to cutting down these trees. Basically, the point of the story is that guy number one was just going out there trying to swing at these trees left and right and put in no preparation and no effort, and eventually got so worn out that he just had to tap out and quit for the day. Meanwhile, guy number two took time to prepare. He took that time away to have a slower start, to sharpen his axe and get that ready to go. So when he actually went out and hit the forest and tried to cut down these trees, he was able to do it so much easier and effortlessly because he took that time to prepare. I feel like this applies so well here because even though neither of these men in the story are taking an escape, there's still the message here that if you're taking the time to prepare mentally and physically for your situations, you're going to perform so much better than somebody who's just go, 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 trying to push through all day long. So I hope you could take this story with you and think about it if you're ever in one of these situations. I feel like I think about this story way too much in my day-to-day life. I feel like it's one of those things that just like stuck in my mind forever since I've heard it. Take it with you and think about this and this episode if you're in a point when you are approaching the burnout or crash out stage. Think about this and just remember how much taking that rest and that preparation time and that time away to reset and regroup and reevaluate your situation will benefit you. Remember that you're allowed to take a breath and it's okay to take breaks. It does not mean that you're weak or that you're a failure or that you're giving up on your goals altogether. Understanding that you need a break is actually a sign of emotional maturity and reason. When you're able to take control and realize that you're approaching a period when you need a break or time away before it's too late, that's actually a sign that you're emotionally in tune with yourself. So start paying attention. Analyze your body and your internal, environment, your internal feelings, your mental headspace, and start to realize when you get to those points when you need some time away. And take it because you're the only one that can push yourself to actually take those breaks away. And you're the only one that can know when you need them. And remember that you're allowed to take a step back without completely stepping away from your dreams. I mean, I love this podcast so much. I love coming on here and sharing advice with you guys, but I was at a point when I needed to take a step back. I needed to take a step back, and now I'm ready to come back full force, hit the ground running, and really give it all that I've got. Coming back with intention is so much more powerful than just blindly pushing forward. So this is a reminder to move forward with intention. And if you're crashing out, remember to pause, breathe, regroup, and then return with purpose. Thank you guys so much for listening today. And if you are in a period of burnout or crash out, just know that I am with you and your friends and your family are with you. So if you are going through it, make sure to talk with the people around you. Get whatever is making you anxious off your chest and take that time for yourself to really regroup so you can come back as your strongest self. I love you all so much, and I am your biggest supporter here. Thank you so much for listening to the show, and I can't wait to talk more next Wednesday. You'll find some links to my socials in the show notes below, so make sure to check that out and give me a follow there for some other content as well. But once again, I will talk to you guys soon, and have a great week. Bye.